Hello, Ryan, and thank you for taking the time to have this discussion.
Hey,
Um,
thank you very much for having me.
yeah, absolutely. I'll let you present in a second. I just want to tell everyone that um, Ryan here, we work together on one coordinated vulnerability disclosure, and it showed a lot of support and understanding considering what the issue is. And Ryan is overall a really nice guy, and I will let him present himself. Ryan, if you want.
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. It was wonderful meeting you as well. And it's one of the cool things about my job is that I get to go out to the conferences and actually meet researchers face to face. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ryan Nolette. I'm the tech lead for the AWS Security Outreach Team. We own the AWS Vulnerability Disclosure Program. So our main job is to interact with security researchers in the community, help validate the reports coming in, provide recognition and rewards for that hard work and time that you invest. And also, we do a service where we collaborate and will help people with like publication of their blogs, have technical reviews by subject matter experts, and really like we're here to be the you hear at AWS the voice of the customer. For us, the voice of the customer is researchers. So we are the voice of that customer internally to make sure they have a seat at the table, and we get security fixes on the roadmap and all of that kind of stuff. Previously to this role, I've done a lot of stuff in blue team, red team, and all of the colors in between. I'm the co-author of AWS Detective and a published author on threat hunting. If you ever have any questions, feel free to hit up my GitHub, where I have a link to a lot of my published work there. And we're going to have those links for you in the description.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I can confirm that you give voice for the researchers, and the reviewing process is really funny because you have these articles that maybe are showing something that you want to publish in terms of security research on AWS, and you have this team that is not saying to you, "Hey, don't post this." They are just reviewing and making sure that you got all the facts right, and it's overall a really good experience to have, especially if you want to publish your work and you want to make sure you got your facts right. So a really
Yeah,
cool
there's
team.
nothing worse than when you try to publish something and then the company has to put out a statement like stating all the places where you were technically inaccurate,
Yeah,
which
that's it.
isn't fun for anybody, right? Like the whole idea of the published research really is it's helping the shared customer between AWS and the researchers, right? Like everybody has the same goal, help customers be secure, the users of the technology. So let's make sure we're giving them the same advice,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And that's close to why I wanted to have this discussion because when I first started doing engagements in AWS, either cloud security configuration reviews or maybe pen testing applications that were hosted in AWS, um, a lot of things were new to me, and I didn't exactly know what were my limits, what was okay to do, what wasn't okay to do. And I wanted to have this discussion to let everyone know kind of what are the guidelines when you are doing security stuff on AWS for your clients, and just to make sure you are safe while you are doing your work. And we can start with the first question, something that I ask myself. What are the types of engagements that are allowed in AWS with approval or maybe without approval?
Sure thing. First, I'm going to name a bunch of links and things as I describe it to make sure you guys know where to go to get the most update information. Once again, those will be included.
Yeah.
But what's really nice about AWS is that we try to be as transparent as possible with what is and is not in scope. And for that, There's three different places that you can go to get roughly the same information. They're slightly tuned for the location. But the first and foremost is the vulnerability reporting page. So this is a AWS security hosted page that has our CNA scope in it. So that tells you what is and is not in scope for a CVE. It tells you our vulnerability uh, disclosure program scope, so you know what is and is not in scope for submitting a vulnerability. We have an email address there, which is aws-security@amazon.com, where you can ask any follow-up questions. But on top of that, like those are more of the generic things for you to know where to go to get further information. What you probably care about is the AWS website for penetration testing, which has a set of guidelines on what you can test with without prior approval, and then what types of testing requires prior approval. The reason why we state that is because if you do testing and you cross into the threshold of the unapproved, you're going to set off a bunch of alerts and alarms, and we are going to take proactive measures because we believe we're being attacked, because we have no notion that we're not being attacked. So that'll result in like account suspensions and quite possibly legal issues if you do something really fun. But where I want to also kind of show off is that we have the AWS user agreement, right? So we have the idea of the shared responsibility model and what is and is not in that model for which side of it. But it kind of comes down to one basic thing, and that is do not impact customers negatively in any way, right? You can read through all these documents and get the nuances and learn what's in scope, what's not, what you want to test, where you need to get asked questions. But really, before you run a test, is it going to impact other people negatively in any way? If so, pause, open up a vulnerability report to us. We're 24/7. We have humans there. We respond very quickly. We have an SLA for within 24-hour human response, as well as we do very timely follow-ups from the VDP team, and they're all professional triagers. So you're not going to be talking to your grandma and walking her through how to click through some screens, right? These are all people who have broken things previously. So yeah, when in doubt, just ask. We're totally happy to respond to questions. Um, the last thing on there that I forgot to mention is the AWS VDP. So I mentioned a bunch of websites. I'll go through them again really quickly. The AWS vulnerability reporting page contains information on scope of vulnerability reporting, our CNA scope for getting CVEs if they or GHSAs if you qualify, and then also general guidance on where to report things like the security inbox and a link to our VDP ticket tracker, which is the HackerOne platform right now. And that's hackerone.com /AWS_VDP. And that I've created, I actually launched it this previous year. And I created it to try and fix a lot of the like communication issues we had between AWS and researchers. So there's a guided wizard for submitting things with different questions for you to answer. So there's some generic text boxes so you can be wild with describing how you want to, but then common things like TLP, the traffic light protocol of what you're submitting. Nobody ever puts that. Well, how do I know that I can't disclose this to service teams unless they're read in, unless you tell me it's TLP read? So we have a link like that there, so you can communicate to us how sensitive you believe the issue is. Um, Timelines, all that kind of information is there. And one of the perks of the platform is that now that you're not using an inbox like in years past, you don't have to track your stuff in email. You can just go to your account, see everything you've reported, see your entire history, all of your comments, the current status of everything. It's just a much better experience, in my opinion. And we use it for rewards as well. So when you do submit to the VDP, we do want to recognize those valid resolved issues and the work that you put in. So we do things like custom badging, which allows us to show every time you get a valid resolved report for that service, you get a badge issued to you for that service. Now you can start a collection. All right, you can show that you
Yeah.
have 10 or 20 service badges, or you've collected them all. We have something like 400 services that I had to put into there. You collect them all like Pokemon, and I'll get you like some really cool badge thing built in for real.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So those are the reasons we bring those out. And then lastly, we have that user agreement page, which lets you know what is in and out of the shared responsibility model for the customer side and AWS side, and then the penetration testing page. And that covers what is and is out of scope without prior approval. I know I covered a lot of information, so please feel free
Yeah.
to ask me some
No,
follow-ups.
that's good. And I wanted to mention that it's good to check these pages from time to time because the rules might change. So I know in the beginning you had to get for some cloud providers approvals to do pen tests, even if it was against your own web application. So you had to get a pre-approval to
Mhm.
do that pen test. Things have changed from that time, and it's a good practice to check from time to time what you have to do, especially if it's a custom job. I would definitely recommend to check if it's okay. And as you said, if you are in doubt, you can drop an email. I have to say, when I first stumbled across the security email, I didn't think someone will actually answer me. I had this image that AWS was this big organization and no one pays attention to an email address, but actually people are very responsive and you can definitely drop a question via email if you have any doubts. And as for now, if you have to do a cloud configuration review or maybe pen testing a web application and you don't think it's impacting customers, it should be fine to do it. But again, check the resources just to make sure that still are things are still as discussed right now.
And one proactive way to check on scope changes, if you join the AWS VDP program on HackerOne, any changes that are made to the program notify you as well. So if we ever change like add an asset or remove one, change some of the pre-assigned scoping or policy information, you'll get an update that it's changed. So that'll also help keep you up to date.
Yeah, and I know this talk is more oriented for kind of beginners that have just started with AWS security, but it's good to know these things in case you are in sorry, just one sec. So it's good to know these things in case you are in in a situation where you discover something that looks like maybe a vulnerability and it's not about your client's infrastructure, it's about the AWS's infrastructure. So you should know how to proceed when you get to that point.
Agreed. You know, and that's also one of the things that we see a lot with new researchers is that when they find something that looks kind of weird, but they don't understand all the things it's connected to because of being new to the technologies, especially in the cloud space and learning new services. So it goes back to when in doubt, ask. There's no question too small to send to the inbox, right? You can send something there, even if it's just, hey, if I run this command on a loop at scale, am I going to DOS you by accident? You know,
Yeah,
something along those lines. Just ask. You'll get a response
yeah,
back pretty quickly from us. Luckily, it doesn't go straight to my phone anymore, but now we have teams that are 24 by 7 on it now, so you'll
nice.
you'll get a response of please don't, or please, yeah, that's fine, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. And you said about the DOS thing. Um, if people want to use cloud security scanners on their client infrastructure, so they have the permission to use the scanner on infrastructure, is any rate limiting or is anything that AWS they should be aware of? Maybe AWS doesn't want you to use automated tools, or what's the stance from AWS?
Yeah, automated tooling is fine. It really comes down to your target that you're aiming at. So When in doubt, double check, right? We have the idea of measure twice, cut once. It's not just for saws, it's also for anything that shoots out a lot of packets.
Yeah.
Always make sure your target scope is what you expect it to be. Um, Also, it depends on your technology, right? If you are hosting your own WAF, uh, yeah, go to town. But if you're using AWS WAF, you might set off some actual like additional alerts because it's not just a client hosted application, it's a shared service. So customers will configure what rules they want run on the WAF, but the WAF infrastructure and the DDoS protection, the all the different tooling that goes into protect the infrastructure, that's all still owned and run by AWS, and we have teams of people looking at it. So if you go out of your scope and into ours, once again, like in the beginning, because we don't know about it ahead of time and we can't prepare for it, we're going to consider it a valid attack and we have to take action to protect the infrastructure and the customers that have production workloads running on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, when in doubt, ask or double check.
Yeah. And I also have a tip here in case you are doing multiple projects for multiple clients at the same time. Maybe you want to check your
Yeah,
programmatic access to know
yeah.
on which infrastructure you're running your tools.
That is very true. One trick I like to use is profiles
Yeah.
when I create stuff out, so that way I can choose by name what I'm aiming for, but also I separate things out into virtual machines. So if I'm going to run
Oh,
testing,
nice.
I'll have a base AMI created with my tools in it, and then I'll spawn them off in their own private VPCs, one per, a
Okay.
project.
Nice.
And so that way they are separate and I have to go through steps to log into a different environment. But if I really want to, I could run multiple at once.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, the same kind of idea. Like we have all learned this through trial and error, right? Through breaking stuff by accident. I have
Yeah.
tales of destroying things by accident in my corporate environments. So we don't want to reproduce those at scale. And hopefully
Yeah.
you have learned from our mistakes
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
listening to the voice of reason. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When I have busy periods, I even remove the default profile so that actually have to type the name of the profile of the client just to make sure
Mhm.
that I'm targeting the right thing. So whatever helps you doing avoiding mistakes.
Yeah, it's little things like that are the knowledge that you want to pass to like the next researchers that are just starting to learn because like how long did it take you from start to when you were like, oh yeah, this needs to be standard in my workflow?
It
Months
took
or
a while.
years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So, and through that you broke a bunch of stuff.
yeah,
Let's let's not break stuff this time around.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. Let me help you to grow
Yeah.
quicker.
Help me
Yeah,
help you help me.
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. Um, So we talked a bit about the VDP program and the email address. I wanted to ask, or even if you mentioned it a bit, is it safe for someone to report a security concern? Maybe it's not really a vulnerability, but maybe it's just a security concern. Can they communicate it with you? Does AWS have a safe harbor policy? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the when in doubt ask kind of aspect that we're doing, right? AWS does use for the AWS VDP program, and which covers the security inbox and the HackerOne program. Those use the gold standard safe harbor, which was written by um, somebody at HackerOne whose name escapes me at the moment, but enter here, editor. Uh, I'll just mouth it at HackerOne.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm messing with the editors. Um, they wrote this gold standard safe harbor because it encompasses a lot of the desired traits among the industry of us, our peers. So other cloud vendors use it as well. Other large companies use it. And that way, the industry has kind of a standard to start with. We use that, and then we add some additional service policy on top of gold standard because Gold
Okay.
standard says things like try your best to not impact,
Okay.
live infrastructure. We add a line onto it of, do not impact customer infrastructure, much
Yeah.
stronger word as an addition. Um, but all of that's rolled in. Safe Harbor is both stated on the vulnerability reporting page as well as the VDP policy page, because I write them both, so I know that they're in sync.
Nice.
And
Nice.
and the reason is that we want to make sure it's across the board that people don't
Hmm.
have questions of, well, this service isn't under that or this tool isn't under that. If it's AWS vulnerability reporting, it is under GSSH right now.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And I think this covers most of the things I wanted to get from you. And just to make a sum up, so in the beginning, if you are doing things that are not impacting, will not impact other customers, things should be fine. But please check the policies that AWS uh, published either on the VDP or on their website. I will post all the links in the description. If you have a security concern or if you have something that you are not sure about, ask Ryan. He knows. But don't think Ryan. I'm just kidding. You have
I'm
multiple channels.
available on the
So
cloud security forums if you need me.
yeah, yeah. And
I'm
I will
very
leave a
active
link to
there.
that as well.
If you're an
Yeah, and
AWS hero or in that program, you can also contact the security department through there.
okay.
We want to be available to everyone. So if you're linked with us already, yeah, I'm available. Feel free to reach
Yeah,
out. That's my job to move you to the right people.
that's awesome. And I want to add another thing. So, I once reported something that was mostly a feature request for something that can be improved, and it actually was implemented. So even if you might think that you don't have a voice, you can actually have a voice, especially with the AWS outreach team, and they actually listen to you. So any security improvement that you might have, they might actually implement it, which is really cool.
Yeah, we're fans of defense in depth. So if it's a security concern where you think something could be implemented better, yeah, pass that along as well, because it might not be considered an immediate vulnerability security issue to fix, but it's a long-term fix. And in the end, that helps everyone out. So we're more than happy to listen and to take that kind of input and feedback.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Ryan. Well, thank you for taking your time, and I guess I hope to see you at some cloud security conferences.
I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you for your time. That was great to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Cheers.